October 10th, 1945, Game 7. Now a look here in 2016. The streets have been buzzing, crawling with people. Addison, Clark, Waveland, Sheffield. Inside, electricity, life. A feeling unlike any other in a stadium anywhere in this country. It's Game 3 of the World Series, with the series tied at a game apiece tonight on Fox. The Chicago Cubs and the Cleveland Indians. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. The Hall of Famer John Smoltz is coming right up. Well, it's the first World Series here at Wrigley Field in 71 years. Some waited a lifetime to see this. Some waited a lifetime and never saw this. And for the first time in a long time, the stadium is as big a star in this series as anybody running around on that field behind me. I welcome in my partner, John Smoltz. And John, as you look at this pitching matchup, the guy getting the ball tonight for the Chicago Cubs, Kyle Hendricks, was so good 6 days ago in Game 6 against the Dodgers.
Absolutely. Probably the biggest start of his life. He beat Clayton Kershaw, and he had 6 days to think about this moment. And this moment at home with this crowd probably won't sit most of the game for Kyle Hendricks. You look at the numbers, virtually unbeatable at home and virtually unbeatable unless his team doesn't score any runs. Sinkers, changeups against a Cleveland team that's pretty good against off speed. The wind's blowing out. Whoever keeps the ball down going to have success.
And that'll be interesting in the outfield. Now, typically in the World Series, when a series shifts to the National League town, you lose the DH, and that's happened. There's no DH in the lineup, but in this case, the Cubs lost their DH in Kyle Schwarber, and it means that the typical DH for Cleveland, Carlos Santana, makes his first career start ever in the outfield at a windy Wrigley Field.
Yeah, well, for Terry Francona, he's hoping offensively he provides more than he costs him defensively. And for Josh Tomlin, who's been so much better his last 6 games, they're hoping he keeps the ball in the ballpark, which he's been doing. Only 1 home run. On the other hand, in the course of the season, he's given up 36 home runs. So this game is all about surviving the first inning. Can he survive the first inning with a hostile crowd? And can Kyle Hendricks get his team with a 0 on the board in the first inning? I personally can't wait. Fasten your seatbelts.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's Game 3 of the World Series tonight on Fox.
I'm walking, here's the need, I'm talking, but you and me, I'm hoping that you come back to me.
Tonight only, the fabulous Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field, 1060 West Addison.
Check it out, check it out. Tonight only, from Chicago, the fabulous Chicago Cubs. Hitting and pitching review, the fabulous
NL champions, the Chicago Cubs. It's been 71 years. The World Series is back. Tell your friends, it's ladies' night. You flying the W. You with the Cubs sweater. It's Game 3 of the World Series.
I'm walking, here's the need, I'm talking, but you and me,
Welcome to Unlimited Baseball. The weather is terrific. Unless you're playing in the outfield or you're standing on the mound. Why? Because even though it's 63, the Hall of Famers up there will tell you which way the wind is blowing. The answer, O-U-T. Out to center, out to left center. Let's go down to the field and check in with Tom Verducci.
Thanks, Joe. The past is a bucket of ashes. Those are the words of Chicago's favorite poet, Carl Sandburg. And Cubs fans have been watching that bucket fill for 71 years, through more than 11,000 games, through 44 managers, through 12 men on the moon. And tonight, it is here, a World Series game at Wrigley Field, and the ball in the hands of Kyle Hendricks, who this year has a 1.37 ERA at Wrigley Field, the second lowest in the 102 seasons they've been playing baseball here. History, lots of it, brought us to this moment. Tonight, it's about the here and now. And as Carl Sandburg also said, nothing happens until we dream it. Joe?
Tom, thank you. We'll check in with Tom and with Kenny Rosenthal during the course of the night. They are the ends of the dugouts. Man, this place is alive. We give you a look at the Cleveland Indians lineup. Obviously a different look. It's Carlos Santana leading off, and Jason Kipnis and Francisco Lindor. Santana's in left. Napoli, Ramirez, and Chisenhall in the middle. The back end of it, Roberto Perez, Tyler Naquin, and Josh Tomlin has to swing the stick tonight. Pitching and batting ninth, and here is the typical DH. He's played some first base. He used to be a catcher. Carlos Santana. Strike one. Postseason numbers are not great. The regular season numbers are 34 home runs, 87 RBIs, and a new baseball after that.
Let's go into Cooperstown.
I would say that first one chucked in there, and out of play it goes. I do want to get into the mentality of a starter on a night like this, and Kyle Hendricks is just 26. That changeup ball really had a lot of dip to it. Registered at 89, missing, and the count 1 ball 1 strike. Let's see how this young man gets along. So good in Game 6 against the Dodgers. That's a strike on the edge. Strike 2.
Well, that's going to be huge. Those are the kind of calls Hirschbeck behind home plate. If the corners and down are going to be in Hendricks' favor, it's going to be a long night for the Indians.
Well, he looks nervous. I don't know about you. He just looks completely overwhelmed by the moment, doesn't he?
He's the perfect guy for this atmosphere. I'm telling you, the crowd will not sit down. They are so amped up and waiting. He has to be him, and that is calm, cool, and collected. He loves pitching at home. He has the touch you need, and the only thing he'll navigate, I think you're going to see more four-seamers and more fastballs against this Cleveland lineup than he normally does, because he relies on that changeup curveball mix.
That was our Geico pitcher profile. And I said that facetiously because at no point last Saturday did Kyle Hendricks look like his heart rate got above 60. And here he is again, firing strikes. This is Rizzo, no play at first, no man's land, and a 1-out hit for Kipnis. So Kipnis is on. He's got his second hit of this World Series as he chopped it to the right side.
Well, Hendricks is a good athlete. If he doesn't get this, he's got to go straight to the bag. Once he goes that far, he's done. You take a straight line from the mound to the first base, and if you miss it, then the first baseman gets it and flips it to you. Once he veered off, that was the Bermuda Triangle, if you will. That right there, not going to get it done.
So the Indians have a base runner here in the first inning, and you get into their best hitter, Francisco Lindor, who comes in 3 for 7 in this World Series and hitting .342 this postseason. Talk about another guy who has a low heart rate and not overwhelmed by the moment. That's inside for ball 1, and we'll see if the Indians want to run. This was a Cleveland team that led the AL in stolen bases with 134. Kipnis still bothered a bit by his sprained left ankle. Got down the line pretty well there. That's another hit for Lindor. Into the gap in left center field, and Kipnis will turn and go to third. Back-to-back singles, first and third, 1 out for the Indians here in the first. That kid is sensational.
I mean, he's their best player. 2 of the youngest players in this game today are the best players for each club. And this is what he does. Stays within himself, doesn't overswing, takes the sinker. You have to have an approach against Hendrick. You must think going the other way first. If the mistake is in, then you can react and pull the ball. But if you try to pull the ball, it's eaten into his hands. There's going to be a lot of ground balls. Surviving the first inning in a big game at home is the biggest moment for this young man, Hendricks. And right now, the Indians putting the pressure on.
Opportunity for Cleveland. Here's Mike Napoli, first and third, 1 out. Strike 1.
Joe, I know we saw a lot of pitches and a long game in Cleveland. I would think that there needs to be a better and aggressive approach by both teams off these pitchers rather than work the count and try to get deep into the count.
And that was close. Lindor way off the bag and just got back ahead of the tag. And Rizzo looks into the dugout. We'll see if the Cubs want to give this a second look.
Well, it's a big moment.
It is. I mean, is it first and third, 1 out? Let's see.
Wow.
I think he's out.
They got to look at this.
I think he's out.
This happened in the earlier series with the Dodgers when Lester was on the mound, and a back pick from Ross. Quick feet, good athlete. Hendricks, what a quick move to first base.
We actually talked to Terry Francona about that pickoff move. It's something that, to me, the glove's on the shoulder before the hand hits the bag.
Yeah, you got dirt between the hand and the bag. And so what we've learned is all the looks they're going to get, it has to be conclusive to overturn it.
But just to finish the point, you said it, quick feet. His pickoff move, he's a great athlete. Plays a great game of golf. He can hit. We'll see him swing the bat. And he is so good with the quick feet on throws to first, and Lindor was wandering a little too far. And this is a Cubs challenge, and they will win it. 2 out. Call is made. Out at first. Runner at third, 2 down. Here's the real-time look.
And seriously, the only way you can make this is to have a quiet heartbeat. He's got all his faculties working early on. Even though first and third, he was able to make that pickoff move as quick as possible.
And now a wide strike, and Napoli looks back at John Hirschbeck. He's in the hole 0-2. Indians looking for a 2-out hit. Ball 1 down and in.
Kyle Hendricks will throw changeups to right-handers and left-handers, and they're 2 different changeups. That is not easy to do and easy to learn, but he's mastered it. They don't get many hits, meaning in the postseason off of changeups. However, Cleveland, one of the best changeup off-speed hitters in the game as a unit.
Napoli back in. Behind on the count 1-2. Runner at third, 2 out. The simple, secure way to pay. The lineup for the Chicago Cubs. Question has been, as Tomlin gets ready to go, who's going to be in right? The answer tonight, again, second straight game, Jorge Soler. But the first 3 are Fowler, Bryant, then Rizzo, Zobrist, Contreras, Soler. Javier Baez back in that 7 spot. That's some thunder down there with Addison Russell. Kyle Hendricks can swing the bat, batting 9th. He's the pitcher. And here's the guy on the mound in the middle of all this action for the Indians, Josh Tomlin.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how quickly he goes to his curveball. Curveball's become a big part of his routine and how he's been successful lately. The curveball, however, for the Cubs, not their friend. So if he can pound with some fastballs and hit with that curveball, he's got a chance to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Tomlin's been great this postseason. Fowler first up. Ball 1. 2-0 this postseason in 2 starts is Tomlin. He had a big ERA of 11.48 in August, but he got it together down the stretch. There's a strike. He won game 3, the clincher in the division series at Boston. He won game 2 of the ALCS in Cleveland. See what he's done against left-handed hitters. Down on a knee, it's Napoli. What a story about Josh Tomlin and his father. For more on that, down to Ken.
Joe, as excited as Josh Tomlin is to pitch in his first World Series game, he told me he was even more excited to have dinner with his father, Jerry, last night. A little more than 2 months ago, Jerry underwent life-threatening surgery for something called arteriovenous malformation. That's a tangle of blood vessels on the spinal cord. The condition left him paralyzed from the chest down. It's unclear whether he'll ever walk again, but Josh told me he's never going to quit. It might take 5-10 years, but he's not going to stop. Jerry already has managed one small miracle. He's here in the stands at Wrigley Field tonight.
Fantastic. So Josh is pitching with his dad, Jerry, here to support him. Dinner last night. The 0-1 pitch to Bryant is hit in the air to left center field. Over to get it is Santana, and there's his first test. Carlos Santana says no problem as he glides to his left and has it over in the gap, and the Lincoln Motor Company keys to the game.
Yeah, keep the ball in the yard. That's a big thing with the wind blowing out and gusts of somewhere near 20 miles an hour. Keep it in the yard. Cleveland will be successful. Embrace the madness, and already in the first inning, Kyle Hendricks and the Cubs were able to embrace what is going to be a raucous crowd and a crowd that's on your side hoping you get the lead.
So with 2 out, nobody on, here's Anthony Rizzo, and a reminder for coverage of this game in Spanish, please tune to Fox Deportes. The numbers for Rizzo. Takes high for ball 1. Last 6 games, though, the overall numbers aren't that great. The last 6 games, he's hit .375 with his 2 postseason home runs and all 6 of his RBIs in playoff baseball. Out in front, swinging bunt, and it will roll foul. Strike 1. Let's give you a look at the Cleveland defense, and the interesting piece is out in left, and that's Carlos Santana. First big league start in the outfield, and it happens to be in the World Series at Wrigley with the wind blowing out. Tyler Naquin in center, Lonnie Chisenhall in right, with Ramirez, Lindor, Kipnis, and Napoli on the infield, and Roberto Perez. Great defensive catcher, and he's been a terrific offensive catcher in October. He flashes the signs with a 1-1 count, and Tomlin brings it to Rizzo. Strike 2. Josh Tomlin was a 19th round pick in 2006, came up in 2010. 5 times he's been on the disabled list, and finally has been healthy and put it all together. Right side, Napoli. He'll feed for the out. And a good start to this one for Tomlin. After 1 at Wrigley. No score. Tonight's telecast is presented by T-Mobile One. What a scene at Wrigley. 5, 6, and 7 hitters for Cleveland. Strike 1. Zips in there to Jose Ramirez. He was 3 for 7. Had a big game 1. Had a double in that game. Has 48 doubles on the year. That is the second most all-time for the Cleveland Indians from his defensive spot. He's taken over third base. He has become a player. 1-1 pitch from Hendricks. Right side, what a stop, but Baez fires too late. Rizzo got the glove on it, kept it on the infield, but it's a leadoff hit for Jose Ramirez in the second.
Now, one thing about these Indians, they can definitely hit the off speed. So far they're showing they're ready to hit the off speed. Rizzo normally comes up with that play, but almost impossible for Hendricks to field it from the second baseman once it got deflected. You saw it was in his glove and then came out.
So 2 infield hits already for Cleveland. Kipnis had the other, and now Lonnie Chisenhall will dig in. 1 on, nobody out. Throw it out to first. Just back in time, Ramirez. And Rizzo just signaled to his own dugout he was safe. Don't bother looking at it.
Yeah, the cannon that this young man has behind the plate. You cannot get too far away. Good slide away from the tag. Rizzo giving his best effort to get it in there. So a team that likes to run has got to be weary of this catcher.
1 ball, 1 strike. Think about Wilson Contreras, who's the catcher for the Cubs. Started his pro career in the minor leagues as a third baseman. Learned the position in the minors, catcher, and now he is a weapon behind the plate for Joe Madden against a team that likes to run. 1-1.
Well, what's interesting about this game, even though we have interleague, these 2 teams really haven't faced the opposing pitchers. There's only a handful of guys, maybe a couple guys on Chicago, 1 guy on Cleveland. So they're seeing Hendricks for the first time, almost back to the old World Series days when they met for the first time in each league. easier said than done, but I would think that the Indians, after the first time through, it is the pitcher's job to react to the hitter's aggressiveness early on. But Kyle Hendricks throws a lot of strikes early.
There goes a runner, comes back, and one off the end of the bat for Bryant. Throw to second, out. Lead runner is gone, and after starting and stopping, Jose Ramirez couldn't get the engine started again. And Bryant gets the lead man one away.
Yeah, big play. This ball was not hit hard enough to turn two right off the end, and he was at a standstill when the ball was put in play. An easy play for Bryant. See, Ramirez going to be frustrated when he gets to second base, knowing he had a better chance to beat it if he was in a better position to take off at the crack of the bat.
Went 5-6 on the putout with Addison Russell taking the throw. And the batter will be the catcher, Roberto Perez.
See, that's what that back throw does. That back throw keeps you on edge, and you get a secondary lead, which means when you get a secondary lead, you're anticipating action, swing of the bat, reading it off the bat. And he faked like he was going and then came to a dead stop. Now he's got to start all over again once the ball's hit, as compared to a continual motion.
Nothing in two. 89-mile-an-hour deliveries to Roberto Perez, who homered twice in game one.
Starts out as a ball, ends up as a strike. Perez seeing him for the first time. Probably thinking, wow, that's a lot of movement.
Story for the Cleveland Indians again is they lost their number 2 and 3 starter in their rotation within 9 days of each other in September. They took on the Red Sox, beat them. Took on the Blue Jays, beat them. Now taking on the Cubs, a series tied at a game apiece, and Contreras is always willing to pop up and throw if you give him a chance.
Terry Francona's done a great job. He knows he's got a couple wounded parts in his team, but it hasn't affected him and how he's chosen to manage. He manages with the bullpen, and he's going to manage with one starter, hoping to get the ball 3 times if they need it. And that's tomorrow's starter, Kyle Kluber. Corey Kluber.
Ground ball might be 2. Flip. Gamble. After 1.5, Hendricks. Woo! Off to a good start, no score. Sponsored by Chevrolet, more 2016 JD Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. A lot of ways to get here to Wrigley Field. The L might be the best. Mass transit above the mayhem down on the streets.
Was fired up about the helicopter we're going to get out of here.
Was that right? Yeah. You lined that up, have you? I'll be happy to jump on. Here's Zobrist. Ball. Bottom of the second, no score. Tomlin had a quick and easy first.
Zobrist, one of the guys that has seen Tomlin in the American League. 19 at bats, but only a 105 batting average against.
Zobrist swung a well in Cleveland, went 5 for 8 over games 1 and 2, and really hit the ball hard. Wasn't a cheap 5 for 8. 2-0 pitch. 2-1.
Well, Tomlin has the inner confidence that he thinks he's the best pitcher on the field, which is what you have to have. I mean, he has really made and turned the corner since they had that brief time spent, about 10-day rest after a terrible August, of which he fell in love with the cutter and started bleeding into the fastball. Therefore, a lot of home runs. Lately, only 1 home run, and that curveball has been a bigger weapon.
Count goes to 3-1 on Zobrist leading off. There's another hit. Red hot is the Cubs cleanup man, Ben Zobrist. And the batter will be Wilson .462 average with runners on. 6 for 13, and that's number 3 all time in a postseason.
And for a young guy, he's been patient every first at bat, almost fakes a bunt, just willing to take a strike. So that anxiousness or ability to jump out at the pitcher hasn't been shown by this young man yet.
And now Tomlin shows his pickoff move. Contreras hit 12 home runs during the regular season. He came up and he played all over the place. Proved he could catch in the big leagues. They put him in left. He played great. They put him at first. The same. All the while hitting wherever Joe Maddon put him in the Cubs lineup. This kid's got a lot of confidence. Wilson Contreras waiting for the first pitch. Upstairs, ball 1.
So early on, it looks like the ball down and a little bit off will be a favorable pitch for each pitcher. That one over split the middle of the plate, but called it high.
It's a veteran umpire, John Hirschbeck, who is retiring after 34 years. What a way to go out. A check on the runner, Zobrist. He has drawn 3 throws so far from Tomlin.
Yeah, that might be just a little bit nerves. I mean, I don't know that the Chicago Cubs look to run too often. Maybe he's protecting against a hit and run. That's all right. You reset. Focus on the hitter.
Tomlin off the mound. Gloves. Gets the out at first, and down to second as Zobrist one away. Home plate umpire, as I said, is the crew chief, John Hirschbeck. Marvin Hudson is at first base. Tony Randazzo is at second. Joe West, the veteran, 6th World Series, over at third with Sam Holbrook in left. Chris Guccione in right. The replay umpire is Larry Vanover in New York. We'll hear more about John Hirschbeck during the second if we get the chance, with Ken Rosenthal ready to deliver it. But right now it's Jorge Soler. 0 for 10 this postseason. Pretty good swings in game 2, and that earned him another start. Strike 1.
Yeah, his last 28 haven't been exactly locked in. 133 average. Has been coming back from that injury. He does much better against average fastball velocity than power velocity. Power gives him, with that long swing, gives him some issues.
When he connects, they go a long way. Big, strong right-handed hitter out in front there. Strike 2. Good pitch from Tomlin.
Tomlin has that same type curveball that most of the Indians have, and certainly Bauer. And the Cubs have seen their share of curveballs this postseason between Hill and Kershaw, Bauer, Kluber, and now Tomlin.
What caught Joe Maddon's attention with regard to the stats for Tomlin is that Josh, the right-hander, is actually better against left-handed hitters. 222 against him. Right-handers just under 300 at 296. Fought it off.
Here's what the Cubs did in the regular season and what they've done in the postseason. It's been a plan of attack for most teams. Look, you can't sit back and lay it in there for this team who hit a lot of home runs. Certainly loves to mash the ball. So the curveballs have been a little bit better average than I would have expected. Mainly probably because they've seen so many. But this sets up for a curveball right here after a high fastball. Looked like Soler was in protect mode.
struck him out, and a nasty pitch from Tomlin, 2 away, and his first strikeout.
Once you change the eye level of a hitter who always doesn't want to get beat on a fastball, you have to get a little bit more moving to attack the fastball, and then that change of speed and the great drop at the end really doesn't allow the hitter at all to stay back. And you see him way out in front, and if he keeps that pitch going tonight, he can throw it for strikes. There's only one guy, well, 2 guys, but one particular. You do not want to throw Chris Bryant a curveball for a strike. Nor this guy.
Javier Baez. Runner at second, 2 out. Inside ball 1. Baez already has 15 hits this postseason. That is the 6th most in NL postseason history for a player 23 years old or younger. And out to the mound goes the catcher Roberto Perez to talk to Tomlin.
Yeah, and he's done a nice job early. I mean, there's times where the situation gets him more aggressive. Runners on after a team just scored. He gets a little more excited, and he gets a bigger leg kick, and that swing gets a little bit more, expand the strike zone. But for the most part, he's made really good adjustments, and he's looking to attack anything up in the zone. He definitely has 2 windows you can go to: up, higher than high, lower than low, if you're the opposing pitcher.
Two balls, no strikes. Baez is back down in that number 7 spot, where he was really thriving. So much so that Joe Maddon was leery of moving him up the order, because early in that NLCS against the Dodgers, the middle of the order wasn't hitting. He had to slide Baez up, and Javier did not let down Joe Maddon.
2-0 count here. You do not want to throw him a fastball, and if you do, it better be paint. Paint on one side of the plate, particularly in. Has such raw power. Go through a series of signs with a runner on second, decoy, and then a signal. He'll look for something that, whatever the indicator they're using, tells you what the next pitch is going to be.
Off the end of the bag, out behind the second base bag, and Kipnis ends the second. Both right-handers on here at the beginning of Game 3, where after 2 at Wrigley, there's no score. Sponsored by Bud Light. Lady Gaga's new album, Joanne, available at Apple Music. The World Series is sponsored by Chevrolet, the official vehicle of Major League Baseball. Chevrolet has earned more 2016 J.D. Power Dependability Awards than any other brand. Learn more at Chevrolet.com. Bottom 2 in the order for Cleveland: Tyler Naquin, Josh Tomlin, the pitcher. And then back to the top of the order in Carlos Santana against Kyle Hendricks. Strike 1. Hendricks did not get a decision in Game 2 of the division series against the Giants. Was hit on a line drive by Angel Pagan, had to come out. It was a Cub win. And he lost Game 2 to Kershaw, who was unbeatable in the NLCS. But he beat him in the rematch, Game 6 days ago, last Saturday, 5-0, when Chapman came on to get the final 5 outs. 7 1/3, no runs, 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, no walks. 2-1. Naquin, the hitter, had the 2nd best average in baseball this year against the changeup.
Nope.
As he checks his swing on one that rides outside, 3-1.
Yeah, especially the latter part when he got called up. They started pounding him with heaters, fastballs. Struggled. Got some hits lately off of him, but you're right. He likes the off speed.
3-1 pitch. Full count. Hendricks in that Game 6 start got to a 3-ball count quite a bit, but had no problem coming back with quality strikes. Got a full count here. Good swing by Naquin, who hit 14 home runs during the regular season. He is part of this running crew. He stole 6. Likes to get on in front of Josh Tomlin, the pitcher, who's next.
just tremendous athleticism. Has nothing to do with where he's playing. He covers the ground and gets the ball before it skips. The two most athletic shortstops in our game right here on Showcase in the World Series, Russell and Lindor.
That makes Tomlin have to swing the bat. He had 2 hits, 2 for 5 in the regular season, and he shows right there he knows how to swing and strike one.
Early on a difference. What a difference 2 games make. Hendricks threw just 7 pitches out of the stretch in game 6. Think about that. 7 pitches. He only gave up 2 hits. Tonight, the first 16 of the 23 pitches have been out of the stretch. He survived it. The team has played good defense behind him, but that's the difference from game to game. You never know how it's going to add up. And that's why most of your side work or bullpen work, and he had 6 days of rest, you'll work a lot out of the stretch because that's when you make some of your biggest pitches and most pressure pitches.
1-2 pitch. 2 out. Strikeout number 3. The base is empty for Santana. Major League Baseball proudly celebrates the life and legacy of Roberto Clemente. Earlier tonight, Curtis Granderson was announced as the 2016 Roberto Clemente Award winner for his positive contributions to the community off the field. Visit MLBcommunity.org to learn more. Granderson was joined by Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred, Roberto's widow Vera, and sons Roberto Jr. and Luis. Curtis Granderson, who was raised by 2 school teachers, is one of the nicest, most generous player that Major League Baseball has in it here in 2016 and has been for a long time now. 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball fouled back by Santana, strike 1.
Well deserved. It's the greatest award that you can receive outside of the game of baseball for your efforts both on the field and off the field. Congratulations to Curtis Granderson.
Here comes a 1-1 from Kyle Hendricks to a guy who popped 37 home runs during the regular season. Ball 2, and just so you know, Curtis is a Chicago area native. Graduated from Illinois, University of Illinois Chicago, with a business degree. Donated $5 million for a stadium there.
It's outstanding.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. 3-1.
Santana's not your typical left-handed down and in type hitter. He likes the ball up. You see the curveball gives him a little bit of problems. He's aggressive versus the fastball.
Santana looking for something to crush here on 3-1. Wind blowing out. That's a walk. A 2-out walk with Kipnis coming up. And what a thrill it's got to be, John, for a young leader like Jason Kipnis, who's 29 years old, who grew up in Northbrook, Illinois, coming to Wrigley Field as a diehard Cubs fan, still lives in this area right downtown Chicago, and here he is at Wrigley Field stepping in for the Cleveland Indians on a historic night.
Yeah, he talked about it, just all the childhood memories and coming to the game as a youngster and now getting an opportunity. It's all Indians, though, he said. Let's not confuse anybody. This is all about the Indians for his point of view.
There's a strike. Kipnis with an infield hit his first time up. Out in front of that pitch, strike 2.
Tremendous changeup. See how it fades and goes down away from the left-hander. The hitters have to respect his fastball. Sinker moves. Four-seamer actually gets on him quicker than they think, and the changeup drops.
Contreras wants it up. Trying to pull it back in. Ball 1. One-two. Inning over. Strikeout number 4 for Kyle Hendricks. And game 3 goes into the bottom of inning number 3. Started with a great catch by Addison Russell. There's no score. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. I would assume a nice night to be in a blimp. Here comes John Hirschbeck now. John out to the mound, talking to Josh Tomlin. And I wonder what that's about.
He must be struggling with some of the baseballs. He's given them a couple to look at. I don't know. Usually don't see a player come out this early, but
John Hirschbeck is smiling about it.
stalling time.
How about this? Mike Napoli was not out there. There you go. So they're not looking at the baseball. That's called stalling for time. And Mike Napoli was indisposed for a moment. Was hoping for a longer top of the third inning, I guess.
It's a long way from the dugout to the clubhouse here at Wrigley Field, especially on the visitor side. So it's not an easy place to get back down to. Now he's there.
Okay, here's Addison Russell leading it off, bottom of the third. The number 8 hitter with Hendricks, the pitcher, on deck. Russell right at Kipnis, knocks it down. Good play, 1 out.
You know, we touched on it in the beginning. I still can't imagine what is going through Josh Tomlin, not only pitching in the World Series, as you see Russell line this one hopper to Kipnis, but just the idea and the thought of his dad being here and the emotions that he is going through and the intensity and grind and mental toughness that he is trying to display. I can only imagine in a World Series having his dad here has got to be incredible.
Strike is into Kyle Hendricks.
It wasn't until later, after my playing days were done, that I could appreciate even pitching a Game 7 and my dad there in Minnesota. Just the anxiousness and nervous.
Here's a check on Lindor. 2 out. Well, it is a remarkable story, and obviously for his father, Jerry, all of us wishing him the best, and great that he is here in attendance watching his son, who has really pitched well. He's allowed a leadoff hit to Ben Zobrist in the top of the second. That's it. He struck out 1, no walks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ground ball outs.
Yeah, that's, we talked about the wind. It hasn't come into play yet. The wind is howling. We've had an innocent pop up. Bryant hit a fly ball to Santana, fairly easy.
Fowler, strike 1.
So you know it's on the hitter's minds. You know it's on the pitcher's minds. And whoever can execute better. As a hitter, you can get in a tendency to try to upper swing a little too much to lift the ball in the air.
Fowler grounded out his first time. That's inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
See that 100 World Series average he got a hit in the last game. He's so important to this team when he gets on base.
Call goes Fowler's way. 2-1. Dexter will cash in on a free agent deal at the end of the year, either back here with Chicago or on to other, hard to say, greener pastures for Dexter Fowler. But here's a guy who bet on himself, evidently turned down a multi-year deal with Baltimore to sign a 1-year contract with the Cubs to be a part of it, and here he is in the World Series. 2-2.
Nope.
Perez, the catcher, started to walk away, and you could hear John Hirschbeck saying, nope, it's a ball. Full count instead of strike 3. And what looked to be a walk or a strikeout ends up as a line drive out to right. Caught by Chisenhall. We are scoreless through 3. Game 3 at Wrigley.
Only from Wrigley Field. Chris and Anthony Blues. Come on, Quest. The Blues Brothers.
We're on a mission from God.
Two guys that the Cubs can market around Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant. Two young stars, and here's one on the other side. We keep talking about him. Had a chance to visit with Francisco Lindor before the game, who was actually having fun. He said, everybody keeps telling me, have fun, have fun, have fun. So I'm trying to have fun. Jimmy Rollins talked to him and said, look, you don't know if you're ever going to get back there. So take it in, enjoy it. He's just tearing the cover off the ball, too. Strike two.
Yeah, he's been consistent all year. Only 24 days where he hit 300 or higher on the year. Went through a rough stretch in September, 2 for 40. He felt like his swing was getting too big. So he feels that when he relaxes and uses his hand and short, quick to the ball, he's got better results. Basically, he's a stud.
So good defensively. Ball one. Hit 301, 15 home runs, 78 RBIs, stole 19, and he's only going to get better. To the right side, threw it. Another hit for Lindor, 2 for 2, and 5 for 9 in this World Series. It'll bring in Mike Napoli. Let's go back to the first at bat.
Yeah, this was classic Kyle Hendricks. He starts him off with a fastball. Okay, then he throws 3 changeups in a row. The one that cuts, the one that fades. He stays stubborn with it down. Napoli loves the ball down, but the change of speed gets him.
Pitchcast, powered by MLB Advanced Media. Indians have had base runners. Second time they put their leadoff man on. That had been a problem through the first 2 games. Coming into this game 3, only 2 times in the previous 17 innings did they accomplish that. Makes a big difference. Ball one in the dirt. Contreras blocks it.
Well, I said early on, if you're the Indians, if you can keep this crowd to a dull roar, you're doing your job. And so far, that's been the case. They've had action every base, every inning at some base. So the crowd here is, you can sense a little nervousness. They'd love to have the lead. They'd love for their guys to be on the board first, with the Indians creating the pressure early.
Here's a 1-0. Big swing by Napoli, who was hitting home runs off the video board that shows his face at the moment in left center field during batting practice. This guy, when he connects, they go a mile.
35.5 inches on the bat. 27 home runs against right-handed pitchers.
Also a double play candidate if Hendricks can get him to hit the ball on the ground. And Napoli didn't like a call like that in the first. He doesn't like it here in the fourth.
No, the pitch on the corner. See that straight cutter 4-seam fastball versus the 2-seamer comeback. If he wanted, he could start one out looking like a ball, try to bring it back.
Lindor was picked off back in the first inning with Cleveland looking at a first and third 1-out situation, and that pickoff was a big play for Kyle Hendricks.
See, the problem for Napoli, when you establish a fastball at that height, that brings the changeup lower than low even back into play. It's hard to stay off of it once he gets that call.
Got him on the outside corner. Strikeout number 5 for Hendricks.
And this is just classic. I can't hit it anyways, and I'm not agreeing with the call, but it's so close, and you see the catcher not move his glove too much. It's just great pitching to the corners. That's what Hendricks does so well. He doesn't have to go up too often. Some pitchers have to elevate the ball to change the eye level. Hendricks changes the eye levels by in and out and down primarily. That's why he's been so good here at home. That's why he doesn't give up many home runs. And on a night like tonight, with the wind howling out, a recipe for success.
Here's Jose Ramirez, singled his first time. Ball one. Ramirez has gone from Mr. Everything, a utility player, to the everyday third baseman. Hit .219 last year, hit .312 this year. 1-0 pitch. That's into right field. It's down for a hit in front of Soler. And this combination of Lindor and Ramirez 4 for 4. 2 on, 1 out, and the batter will be Chisenhall. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by HP. Keep reinventing. Where Ramirez can hit. And he's on at first with Lindor, the lead runner at second. Good speed on for Lonnie Chisenhall.
And you got to be careful on the first pitch. This guy's very aggressive first pitch. He hunts the first pitch at a 462 clip on the year.
Two on, 1 out. Change up fouled right side, strike 1.
Yeah, good pitch selection. If the guy's hunting fastballs, make him think that a fastball's coming and throw the changeup, which Hendricks did right here. And now he's relying on something on the ground in his outstanding infield to turn another double play.
Now with a runner at second. Some indecision or confusion, and Hendricks calls Contreras out to talk.
Yeah, a lot of stress in these first 4 innings for the Cubs. They've handled it all right, so has Hendricks. But the more the stress the Indians put on Kyle Hendricks, you think, or at least from the Indian side, he's going to crack and leave one out over the plate.
You can experience every World Series moment with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. The only place to get all your Indians and Cubs action, in-game video highlights, pitch tracking, StatCast, live radio feeds, and much more. Download At Bat today. Chisenhall at bat, and he takes up 1 ball, 1 strike. Lindor a single. Napoli struck out. Ramirez a single. The 1-1 coming to Chisenhall. Right side, fair ball. Throw to second, out. Over to first. What a pick by Hendricks, saved a run. And with 2 out, it's first and third, but Hendricks, with his glove, just saved the first run of the night.
I mean, seriously, this is a wow. This is the hardest play for the pitcher to come over and field a throw from the infielder on the run for a double play. And not only that, take a short hop to boot. Russell trying to get rid of it quick. As he throws it, you can see Kyle on the run, and wow, that is a game saver.
Joe Maddon went up a step or two to check with Hendricks to see if he thought maybe that was something they should review, and they won't. Good call by the first base umpire Marvin Hudson, and it's first and third, 2 out, but that was good glove work by Hendricks. Now Perez, the Cleveland catcher, 0 for 1. Ball 1 outside. Double play bounced into by Perez back in the second. Hit it to short. Infield is deep. They had time with Perez running. Roberto trying to put Cleveland on top. 1-1.
I'm so impressed with Hendricks. This is tremendous movement. And he's had runners on, as we mentioned, and his touch pitches, his 2-seamers and changeups have been so calm and so on point. Most guys get in this situation and the anxiety and amped up. You go harder, you try harder. He goes softer, and he preys on the aggressiveness of the hitter in these moments.
Two and 2. That means the runner at first, Chisenhall, will take off on the next pitch.
Great discipline by Perez. What Hendricks is trying to do is just get him looking out farther over the plate and hoping that he'll go after a pitch that's a ball. He's yet to throw a right-hander inside with any kind of sinker, so the hitters are looking away.
Runner goes. Fly ball down the right field line into the corner. Out of play. Perez gave it a charge.
If there was ever a time for him to throw that inside changeup like he did against Napoli, this would be it if they want to go to the changeup. See Perez looking away and going away, but the ball fading out of play for a foul ball.
Chance for the Indians, first and third, 2 out.
Made the pitch. What a great at bat by Perez. He'd been looking away, and that changeup in, he was just able to foul off. So now that does something to Hendricks. See the changeup? He goes in trying to have the same one against Napoli. That'll frustrate you just a little bit because you feel like you made the 3-2 pitch you needed. He could go fastball and try to beat him to the punch now if he wants to after slowing him down with the changeup.
Three-two. On the corner. Kyle Hendricks, the young right-hander, has been able to dance out of trouble so far tonight. Tomlin has been in charge. Big bats coming up. Bryant takes a strike. 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Ben Zobrist. I know, John, you want to talk about that pitch sequence, that last pitch that ended the top of this 4th inning and a strikeout. Roberto Perez. Here's the 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's such a momentum boost now. You wonder if the Cubs could do anything to put some stress on Tomlin, possibly get a run. This crowd has been waiting for a long fly ball, a home run, anything.
Strike 2, and Tomlin's made some good deliveries. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's staying out of the heart of the plate. Again, the only mistake you can make to Bryant is with the curveball in the zone. I would go to the slider before I go to the curveball against Bryant.
I don't know how that missed him. 2-2. Somehow got out of the way of that pitch. To stay at the plate now, a 2-2 from Josh Tomlin. Go back to that strikeout of Roberto Perez.
Yeah, it's so easy to leave this out over the plate or yank that sinker, but he has been spot on that side of the plate. That's his glove side, the side he really enjoys. See the late movement. There's no way Perez can recognize that even close to being a strike when it comes out of his hand. It starts outside the plate.
Bryant takes a walk, and that barely missed. Let's see where it missed. It didn't miss. That ball, instead of strike 3, is ball 4, and that's how the bottom of the 4th inning begins.
You know, Perez caught it just a little funky. When he catches it, he pulls it down. You see how the glove goes down, and that can have a little bit of a false read sometimes for a home plate umpire. I really believe the way he caught that did not enhance the opportunity to get a strike call. And his hands are really good.
Well, that is a bad break for Cleveland. It's a walk. First of the night. And Rizzo out in front of that pitch. Strike 1. Grounded out to the right side his first time up. 1 for 8 in this World Series. Not a big lead for Chris Bryant at first. Shift on the infield with Lindor on the other side of the bag. The third baseman Jose Ramirez by himself on the left side of the infield. Strike two. They had a nice moment before the bottom of this fourth inning for the Hall of Famer, the great Marv Levy, the south side of Chicago. Wonderful man, looks incredible, 91 years old. He's watching, he's a Cubs fan. The 0-2.
Look at the change up there. Curveballs work against Rizzo off of right-handers. It's one of the only pitches he struggles against. Everything else, he's got great numbers because he's so far on top of the plate and he can handle. We saw last game how many pitches in that he pulled foul, ultimately getting a double. Went through the kitchen sink in Signs last pitch.
Rizzo gets under it, pops it up behind the plate. Perez has a play and makes the catch. A foul out to the catcher Roberto Perez, and Rizzo's 0 for 2.
Well, that ball normally would have been in the stands, but the wind blowing out kept it in and actually changed directions. That's why you saw Perez struggling with it as he goes back to get this ball near the screen. It actually gets away from him, makes the adjustment.
It'll bring in the hottest hitter the Cubs have, Ben Zobrist, who is 6 for 9 with 1 RBI in this World Series so far, trying to win rings in back-to-back years with 2 different teams. Kansas City last year, first year of his free agent deal, this year with Chicago. What a piece for Joe Maddon to have. Can play anywhere during the course of a long season. Hit 18 home runs. Ball 1. So not much success for Ben against Tomlin, but he singled sharply through the right side his first time up. 3 for 20. Only 3 a home run. Zobrist, a long-time American leaguer. With the Rays, played for Joe Maddon there, and then with Kansas City. Just a winner. There's a strike, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And Tomlin's been unbelievable. He's been on point. You got to be ecstatic if you're Terry Francona. On the road, matching 0 for 0. He really hasn't made a mistake. He's been putting the ball where he wants to, executing his pitches.
Inside corner, strike 2.
He's done a great job not really showing the Cubs a ton of these pitches. This is his best pitch, I think, down the stretch. And I've watched him throw 5 in a row, 6 in a row to some of the hitters, whether it be Toronto or Boston.
Napoli able to corral that wide throw from Tomlin, who beat both those teams John just mentioned so far this postseason, the division series in the ALCS. 4-3 over the Red Sox, 2-1 over Toronto. To the second baseman, Kipnis. Out at second. Safe at first. Talk about Marv Levy, who is from Chicago. 25,951 days ago. World Series Game 7 here at Wrigley Field on October 10th. The loss to Detroit, and Marv Levy was here. He and his friend Herb Melnick were home on furlough from the Army in uniform. Managed to get tickets to Game 7 of the World Series. Saw their Cubs lose to the Tigers. 71 years later, he's back. Head coach for 17 years in the NFL. 5 for Kansas City, 12 for Buffalo, and of course he had that string of 4 straight Super Bowl appearances. Never won one, but in the Hall of Fame. Great guy, wonderful coach. Looks terrific at the age of 91.
I want to be there. 91. Golly.
Contreras now with 1 on, 2 out. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tremendous concentration. When you pitch in a World Series game, you're not guaranteed another one, right? And I know with the Indians going with a 3-man rotation, he has done everything you can do to keep the ball down. These are the kind of games that it'll be the longest game you ever pitch. Now, he won't pitch into the 7th for the most part, because that's not what the Indians do. They turn it over to their pen. So here in the 4th with 2 outs, matching Kyle Hendricks, and actually pitching a lot better than Kyle Hendricks. The Indians are in good shape with the way that he's throwing the baseball.
At some point, the clock starts to count down as to when you see Andrew Miller, the big left-hander out of the Indians bullpen. Tomlin's doing his part. 1-1. High fly ball to center. Nate Quinn is there. Barely had to move. Tomlin's mastery of the Cubs continues through 4. No score. 5th rolls in Game 3. Back after this from your local Fox station. This January, She's Inappropriate and in Charge. TV's most outrageous new comedy is coming to Fox. Caitlin Olsen is their guardian, but she's no angel. The Mick premieres this January on Fox. Co-star Scott MacArthur. They're with Caitlin here at Wrigley Field. Tough ticket to get, and they're here as this game moves into the 5th inning. And for the Indians, Nate Quinn can't hold up strike 1. Tyler lined out to short his first time, and it took a diving stop by Russell to rob him of a hit. Got good swings against Hendricks back in the 3rd. Leading off the 5th. Ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, for Hendricks, you see the numbers, right? There's the 5 hits, a lot of traffic. Tomlin been almost perfect, but Hendricks has 6 strikeouts.
Wow. 2-1.
He also is 17-0, including the postseason, when his team gets him 2 runs or more. So he doesn't ask for much. He just needs a little. 0-7 this year when they score 1 run or less.
Naquin chased it upstairs. 2-2. Pitcher Josh Tomlin on deck. Then back to the top, Carlos Santana. Full count. You mentioned the 6 strikeouts for Kyle Hendricks. Lester in Game 1, the starter, struck out 7. Arrieta 6 strikeouts in Game 2. Last National League team to start a World Series with a starter getting 6 or more strikeouts in the first 3 games. The '92 Braves. Lavin, Smoltz, and Avery against Toronto. Overrated. Here's one into left. A base hit off the bat of Naquin. He will hold it first with a leadoff single. And that is the 3rd time Cleveland's put their leadoff man on base here in Game 3.
Well, Hendricks is attacking him with fastballs. We said that's the scouting report. He fights off one, just gets to the over Bryant's head, and now a must-bunt situation for Tomlin. Indians again putting pressure on Kyle Hendricks.
Opportunity knocking yet again for the Indians now in the 5th. And the entire world expects a bunt. Bryant way in at third, and Rizzo will do the same on the pitch. Tomlin struck out his first time. Strike one.
The American League does have interleague. He handled the bat okay in his small sample size, but typically this is where the disadvantage goes in the World Series. Pitchers in the National League used to doing this. American League's not so much.
Did have a sacrifice this season during interleague play. 0-1. Now he's in the hole 0-2.
The one thing he's got to do, though, he's got to stay at home plate. He's moving and trying to bunt. That's not a good recipe. I would think with 2 strikes, he's still going to have the bunt on. Sometimes with 2 strikes, you don't try to make the perfect bunt. You just put the bunt in play, and it actually ends up being a better bunt, believe it or not.
Hendricks looking for his 7th strikeout. Tomlin just trying to advance the runner any way he can. Ball 1 up.
One of the hardest pitches to bunt is a changeup. Actually, a curveball slider, an easier pitch to bunt if you don't flinch and get out of the way, because the spin of the ball with the angle of the bat literally helps you put it in fair territory. A changeup, you jab at it. Looks like that's what they're going to go right here with a changeup.
And the bunt is perfect. Contreras makes the play down to second. Naquin 1 out. What a good bunt by Tomlin.
Problem with this changeup, it stays up, and it allows him to deaden the ball perfectly. If that had the sink that his normal changeups does, might have been a different case. See how it stays up right there and spins. Tomlin, nice job.
Baez was covering the bag. Sacrifice is good. 2-4 down to second. The go-ahead run with 1 out for Carlos Santana. Looking for his first World Series hit with the speed of Naquin at second. If he puts it in the right spot, Indians should have the lead for Tomlin. Ball 1 outside. Mentioned Cleveland will go with only 3 starters. That means John Lackey takes on Corey Kluber. Trevor Bauer takes on John Lester the next 2 games. And a guy like Ryan Merritt, who became an instant celebrity in Cleveland with what he did against Toronto. His Game 5 start is there for insurance, and that's all.
Well, it gives Terry Francona the best options, with Kluber getting a chance to possibly go 3 times. This being the ultimate swing game in a 7-game series, you start playing the mind games once the winner of Game 3 is Contreras. They want to get on the same page with Hendricks.
This is incredible. Look, as we take a peek back into Progressive Field in Cleveland, and look at how many people are in the seats.
That's awesome.
It is just great. It's a $5 donation just to get in the park. I mean, that's just one deck. They're packed in. Throw down to second, and what a play by Russell to save an error by Contreras. 2-0 the count on Santana.
That's the only thing you worry about with Contreras. He wants so bad to throw to bases that sometimes he can cost his pitcher a strike, and he just gets a little anxious to try and get this done. If this thing hits, well, it did hit him. I say, if it hits the base, it could take a bounce anywhere.
Counts 2-0. Carlos Santana. Well, our scoreboard has 2-1. The scoreboard here at Wrigley has 3-0, and evidently that pitch where Contreras popped up and threw down was called a strike, so the count is indeed 2-1, and they change it now. Santana waits. Go ahead, run at second, 1 out.
Catcher will go through the signs. Once the pitcher doesn't like it, they've got another set and another built-in set of signs that they go to, so they don't have to stand out there and shake his head the whole time.
Trying to keep Naquin close at second.
Hardest part sometimes for a pitcher is to be patient throughout the whole set of series of signs so that he doesn't give it away by going yes too early.
2-1 now. Wow. High for ball 3.
Now the pitch up is not being called the pitch down. That's to the benefit of each pitcher, by the way. You see the curveball going around the strike zone. Respecting. He's calling it high.
It's Chris Bosio, the pitching coach for the Cubs, on the left. And that's the man on the spot for Cleveland, Carlos Santana. Trying to put the Indians on top. Full count.
That's what I'm talking about. Hitters count 3-1. He throws a changeup. Yes, there's a base open.
Yet another visit from Wilson Contreras. Anxious time here in game 3, 5th inning, no score. Series tied at a game apiece. Laid off, Santana did, and down to first he goes with a second walk handed out by Hendricks tonight. 2 on, 1 out. Santana has such a good batting eye. He's had 6 straight seasons of 90 or more walks, and he laid off that pitch with a count of 3-2 to take his second walk of the night. Justin Grimm gets up for the Cubs in their bullpen as Jason Kipnis, just north of the city of Chicago, could deliver a big blow for Cleveland. Ball 1 inside. Indians have already hit into a double play and stranded 4. There's Grimm. Here comes Bosio.
Well, I think that's a good time to come out because he sensed just a little frustration. Look, Hendricks doesn't give away much of his emotions at all, but he's made a couple pitches that I can tell that he thought maybe, just maybe, might have been strikes. So this is just to reassure him that you throw a sinker away, or is anything down, we'll get him to roll over. Of course, his ankle taped up.
Tom Verducci, give us more on Kipnis.
Well, as you mentioned, he's from Northbrook, Illinois, home of Jason Kipnis, Steve Bartman, and Ferris Bueller. Kipnis actually was here at the ballpark during the division series in 2003. Bartman infamously in the ballpark during the NLCS in 2003. And Ferris Bueller, the 1986 movie, took his day off here at Wrigley Field, went to the fictional high school, actually the real high school, Glenbrook North High School, alma mater of Jason Kipnis,
who waits for a 1-0 pitch and hits it off the end of the bat foul. Checks with the home plate umpire John Hirschbeck to see if that pitch was down. One and one the count. 2 on, 1 out. 2 balls and 1 strike. The guy who started this season as the number 5 starter, Kyle Hendricks, who pitched his way into the number 2 spot in front of Jake Arrieta. The 16-8 record. Deals. Strike 2.
And more than half have been out of the stretch, which creates stress. This crowd is really wanting to erupt if they can get a ground ball here. Hendricks pitching possibly for his last inning right here. If he can get through this inning, could well be it.
Red hot Lindor on deck. Kipnis never budged. Let it hit him, and now the bases are loaded with only one out. For the best hitter in the Indians lineup, Francisco Lindor. And that's going to be it for Kyle Hendricks. Joe Maddon out of the dugout. Justin Grimm is getting loose. With Lindor coming up in a scoreless game, Hendricks is out here in the fifth. Our AT&T call to the bullpen. Here is Justin Grimm.
Well, what a position to be putting him in. The first pitch is going to be the key to the bat. I think he starts him off with a curveball, but the guts of a bases loaded, not much room for error. See what happens.
It's Lindor at the plate. The best the Indians have. And he chops it foul right side.
I mean, Lindor, you got to believe, sitting on fastball. This Grimm has a real good fastball, but an also good curveball. And that sets the tone right there. If he takes and it's a ball, it messes with your head. You got to trust the right game plan. Even though the bases are loaded, you got to get an out. Even if a run scores.
There's one out in the inning. Bases loaded, the 0-1. Strike two. Hendricks 4 1/3. So far, no runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts.
Now he's thrown 2 really good curveballs. You either bounce the third one or you try to elevate the fastball up.
Smothered by Contreras.
Great pitch. And Contreras, knowing that pitch coming, has got to be completely protecting of the base runner at third and so agile. Previous pitch, Contreras just gave one sign because the runner at second wasn't looking in.
What a spot for the 28-year-old Justin Grimm to the 22-year-old Lindor. 2-2.
Seattle like to see that pitch 0-2. That pitch would have been more effective. Now it's 2-2. He's getting the count in the decision-making scenario. So if you're reading along and thinking along with the pitcher, they typically would go right here back to the curveball.
And it's a full count.
See, that's the only pressure. I would want 2 pitches at 0-2, make the eye level change with the fastball, and then you have 2 pitches to make your perfect curveball. If he starts him off with a curveball, you almost think he's going to end him with a curveball at 3-2. This is where it takes guts and ability and discipline to lay off of it if you're Lindor.
Two quick strikes, now a 3-2 count. Time called by Contreras.
He wants to make sure. He called for the fastball, and I don't think Grimm wanted to go to the fastball. The downside here is when you're a pitcher, you've got to go with the most committed pitch, period. You cannot go with a suggestion.
Bases loaded, 1 out. 3-2. Hard hit. Baez. Russell. Double play. Inning over. How about Justin Graham? Still scoreless halfway through game number 3. Sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company and the new 2016 Lincoln MKX. Soler lines one into left center. It'll get down for a base hit. First pitch swinging, and Soler has his first hit of the postseason. On to start the 5th. Let's go back to the pitch sequence in the double play.
Well, I felt like he had to throw a curveball. He did. He got what he wanted, 0-2. Maybe just one pitch too soon. Back to the curveball. Then he elevates the fastball. Now it's 2-2. He's got to make that decision pitch. He didn't make it. He must throw it in the strike zone. He did. And this ground ball creates a reaction that everybody in this park was looking for.
From Baez, who started it, to Grimm and Rizzo, to the starter, Kyle Hendricks. What a spot. Here's Baez, 1 on, nobody out, and action starts for the Indians down in their bullpen. They're milling around. Strike 1 to Javi Baez for Jorge Soler. That was his first hit since September 15th. And there he is, Andrew Miller.
Pretty much call him the silencer. That's all he's done.
Incredible. Good pitch to fool Baez, strike 2. When you think about it, I mean, Josh Tomlin just gave up only his 2nd hit. He's walked 1, struck out 1, but for the most part, he's been in complete control from the beginning.
Yeah, there's not a sense at all other than what Terry Francona knowing in a 0-0 game, if there's an issue or a situation where it gets to where a crooked number could be put on the board, he's going to bring in Andrew Miller. He's not afraid to use his best weapon.
0-2. That's off the end of the bat. Down to second, Soler, 1 out. A productive out by Javier Baez. Although not what he had in mind. And the batter will be Addison Russell. Here's what's in the offing here. You've got Addison Russell coming up now, and then you've got the pitcher spot coming. So Montero is standing there at the moment, but Kyle Schwarber is looming over the rest of this game. Got on base 5 times in the first 2 games in Cleveland, and when Madden finds the perfect spot, that guy will be at the plate. Maybe not here in the 5th, but that's in the back of Terry Francona's mind.
Right.
Soler at second, 1 out. Russell. Strike 1.
I mean to tell you, I am so impressed with Tomlin. I don't know what funk he went through in August. Didn't see a lot of those games, but the ERA well close to 12. He has not thrown a pitch over the heart of the plate. He's used his cutter sparingly, his curveball effectively, but his fastball command has been unbelievable.
Here's the 0-1. Now Dan Otero, the right-hander, joins Andrew Miller for Cleveland in their bullpen, and Carl Edwards Jr., a right-hander, is up for Chicago in their pen with the pitcher's spot up next. Action in the 5th.
Andrew Miller has to be on the outside, or he's clipping some fans on the inside part as he throws to the plate. Bullpen.
Here's a 1-1. Left side. Over to grab it. Ramirez for the out. Good play. 2 down in the inning. And it will be Montero to pinch hit for Grimm. Montero has 1 hit this postseason. It was the biggest swing of the bat of his life. Pinch hit grand slam to, in essence, win game 1 of the NLCS over the Dodgers. Here comes Terry Francona. Talk about a tight leash. You got Montero coming up. Francona coming out, talking to the umpire as if he's going to make a double switch. And he is. Rajai Davis is going to come into the game and take over in the outfield. They're going to buy 1 spot in their order by taking out Carlos Santana. And the pitcher will bat in the number 1 spot. Dad watching has to be so proud of Josh Tomlin here tonight. Leaves with no score in game 3. For Terry Francona, there's been nobody better, certainly this postseason. But in his career in the postseason, no earned runs allowed in 22 innings pitched. And there are the numbers, staggering from Andrew Miller, picked up from the Yankees in season. A deal made by this front office for Cleveland. He will deal with a left-handed hitting catcher, Miguel Montero, as Rajai Davis is in the game and left. And again, the pitcher will bat in the number 1 spot. Davis will hit 9th. Montero let go of the bat on strike 1.
Well, what he's asking him to do right here, you see Montero.
This is before the pitching change, John. And now he's got a different bat in his hands against Andrew Miller.
Yeah. And I tell you what, 3 games in a row, gutsy move by Terry Francona, asking him he's going to go 2 1/3. And with no days off in the next couple of days, you're asking your bullpen to cover a lot. That's the downside of your starters not getting into the 6th or 7th inning.
Well, in this case, Tomlin goes 4 2/3. Andrew Miller threw 46 pitches, a season high here at the end of a long year. In game 1 on Tuesday, he's had 2 days off, not working game 2. The 1-1. Montero tied up, nasty pitch at 96, strike 2.
And the reason I believe the Cubs are not going to David Ross, then you basically exposed 3 of your catchers. Meaning Contreras is your catcher in the game. David Ross would be, in case something happens now, with 3 catchers on the roster.
Here's a 1-2. Montero hits it hard to right, but right at Chisenhall. Great contact and a good result for Cleveland, as Miller gives up a rocket into right. But we're still scoreless through 5 in game 3 at Wrigley. Fox, tonight's telecast is presented by T-Mobile One. Fans, here are the 3 finalists from the T-Mobile Unlimited Baseball Contest. Only one will win tickets to every game of the 2017 World Series. It's up to you to decide. Go to @T-Mobile on Twitter to view the entries and vote now by tweeting #UnlimitedBaseball and their hashtag. Well, Carl Edwards Jr. got a taste of the big leagues at the end of last year. He is getting a mouthful of World Series pressure here in a scoreless game. Series tied, 6th inning at Wrigley Field in game 3.
He's got an electric fastball and good over-the-top curveball.
Napoli took a strike, now a ball.
Ball explodes out of Carl Edwards Jr.'s hand. And that last pinch hit, by the way, Joe Maddon thinks it's actually a better at bat versus the slider of Miller than a right-hander. He likes the left-hander just because of the way he has to throw it to a left-hander.
Pitch was up. Napoli jumped on it, fouled back, strike 2. So this 25-year-old right-hander, Carl Edwards Jr., worked his way into a rather prominent role in the bullpen for Joe Maddon this year. No room for error. 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Napoli now, then Jose Ramirez, then Lonnie Chisenhall. 4, 5, and 6 hitters for Cleveland, who had the bases loaded, 1 out, and their best hitter, Francisco Lindor, up last inning, and Grimm Justin Grimm on a 3-2 breaking ball got a double play ball. To the right side, Baez. 1 out, and we go down to Ken Rosenthal with a special guest.
Thanks, Joe. Jerry, first of all, what did you think of your son tonight?
It's just Josh, you know, mixing in stuff, taking care of business like he always does. Drives playing great defense behind him. You know, we're so proud of him, so glad to be here and have a lot of family and friends here to come all this way to watch him. It's been awesome, man.
Jerry, after all you've been through, what was it like to watch him pitch in a World Series game?
I don't know how to explain it, man. I really don't. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I didn't know which direction I was going, and Josh had a lot of things on his plate. It's just awesome for this team and this great group of guys, the way they've stood behind him, and Tito, and you know, just everyone. It's been awesome, and for me, it's a dream come true.
Jerry, we're all rooting for you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, man.
Joe, back to you.
All right, the parents of tonight's starter Josh Tomlin, who was outstanding on the road, Wrigley Field, all the history, all the emotion, went 4 2/3, no runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout for Jerry, who had a circulatory issue that has led to paralysis from the chest down. Getting here to Chicago, having dinner with his son last night, being in the park, had to mean the world to Josh.
I'm telling you, I know guys have played under, you know, tough circumstances and situations that happen, but under these circumstances in the World Series, how calm he was. 21 fastballs, 19 cutters, 15 curveballs, mixed it up, really was never in trouble.
2-0 the count here on line of Chisenhall, John, after Jose Ramirez flied out to short.
And I wouldn't even consider last inning in trouble. I mean, yeah, run around second base, but what a great job.
2-0 from Edwards. Chisenhall trying to pump one out of here. 2-1. Cubs defense has really stepped up tonight. First inning, the pickoff by Kyle Hendricks. Third inning, the line drive caught by Russell. Fourth inning, first base pick on a near double play by Hendricks. And the double play last inning. Strike 2 on Chisenhall. No swing, full count. Edwards trying to pitch a 1-2-3-6 before the top of the order bats for the Cubs in the bottom of the inning. 3-2 pitch. How about the kid? No score. And a tremendous game 3. Welcome back to the World Series on Fox. Tonight's telecast presented by T-Mobile One. They are packed in across the street. Waveland, Sheffield, rooftops, lower floors, walking the streets. That's out on Waveland. Dexter Fowler with a count of 0-2 as he deals with Andrew Miller. Came on and got the line drive into right off the bat of Miguel Montero to end the threat in the 5th.
Well, like I said, interesting choice because they're not winning. Cleveland's not winning, and this is a great opportunity when they're winning to bring in Miller. Now he's hoping to keep it tied.
Strikeout starts the frame. Well, pitching certainly has been dominant here in Game 3. I'm Joe Buck along with the Hall of Famer John Smoltz, and I think as you look at this game, coming in, you think, well, they got a DH. The Indians do playing in left. The wind's blowing out. We're going to see offense. No offense.
I thought we really would see offense. And right now, that's what Terry Francona's banking on. I'm going to get a guy in there that strikes guys out and keep this game tied. But they need to win this game, do the Indians, if you're going to use Miller for 2 1/3 innings. And so that's the formula. But if you're able to win the game with the Cubs and burn Miller for 2 1/3 innings, you wonder longevity in the series, how much more he'll be able to be used in the next couple days.
Bryant at the plate, walked his last time 0 for 1. That misses. Ball 2, 2-0. 1 for 8 in this World Series is Chris. And Miller takes a moment after not getting that call on that 1-0 pitch, walks behind the mound, now gets back on top.
See, against Miller, Joe, I think you got to get a little lucky, just like you got to get lucky against Chapman. Now, Miller's more versatile, can throw more innings, but his slider is a wipeout pitch. His fastball's 97. I think you got to get lucky, look in one area, and hope that he elevates just a little bit. Because if he throws a back foot slider, you're not going to hit it as a right-hander.
6'7". That's how tall he is. Bryant swings through it. Strike 2. Originally came up with Detroit, really found himself with the Boston Red Sox back in 2011, 12, 13, 14. Baltimore at the end of that year. The Yankees. Now Cleveland. 2-2.
There's one of those pitches. Bryant can get to it over the middle. He can't get to it to the back foot.
Who is 6'7" on the mound, and a guy who is 6'5" at the plate. And the count 2-2. That's 2 out. And back-to-back strikeouts for Andrew Miller with Rizzo coming up. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Taco Bell. Steal a base, steal a taco, only at Taco Bell. And by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters. Rizzo 1 for 9 in this series. Fouled out against Tomlin his first time. Josh went 4 2/3, no runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Just pumping strikes, 96.
Such an edge on the mound, does Miller, and every hitter tries to do their best to not show him how much of a mismatch it can be. But we showed you the numbers. This ain't no fluke. He's this dominant.
Breaking ball just has Rizzo frozen. Strike 2.
Once it clicks for a pitcher, he had command problems early, as you mentioned, a failed starter or a starter that didn't work. Once he simplified his mechanics, it's almost cheating how good he can throw the strikes.
Strikes out the side here in the 6th inning. There have been 649 World Series games. This just the 26th time in World Series history. The game's been scoreless through 6. Look at the 2 starters, runners in scoring position tonight, combined 0 for 8. So this is scoreless going into the 7th inning. And Carl Edwards Jr. is back to work. Had a 1-2-3 6th inning. Lee Perez, Naquin, and Rajai Davis. The number 9 man for Cleveland. I'll say it again. 649 World Series games played in baseball history. This is the 26th time. That's it. The World Series game has been scoreless through 6. Here's a 1-0. On the corner, a ball and a strike.
Well, they don't give any marks or grades for outplaying somebody, but Cleveland has outplayed the Cubs here in Game 3. They just have not had that one big hit. They put so much pressure on the Cubs pitchers, including a bases-loaded double play.
That's into right center field. That ball's going to get down as Soler gets to it on a bounce. And Roberto Perez is on to lead off the 7th inning. That's the 4th time Cleveland's put their leadoff man aboard. And here comes Michael Martinez off the bench to pinch run.
Yeah, only one clean inning was last inning. 3 up, 3 down. You see him a little bit off the end of the bat, but you got to play deep in the outfield on fly balls. At least that's what the Cubs are doing, and this ball drops in.
In-game box for Cleveland now, brought to you by T-Mobile One, with the number 8 hitter Tyler Naquin coming up. Base hit by Perez. He's out now, and Martinez is doing the running at first. There are some hits there. A couple of hits for Ramirez, a couple for Lindor. Here's Naquin. Showing bunt, taking ball. For Cleveland, the leadoff man reached in Game 1 just twice. Not at any point in Game 2, 4 times through 7 innings tonight. But they have yet to push one across. They've got speed on now. The 1-0. The bunt is a good one. Contreras makes the play with Baez covering, 1 out. Down to second, the go-ahead run. And a good bunt by Tyler Naquin.
Excellent bunt. Deadens it perfect. And now some decisions for the Cubs with Miller on deck. We've got some choices.
There is action for the Cleveland Indians in their bullpen. They had Otero up earlier, but it's Rajay Davis up now with a pitcher, Miller, on deck. Go ahead run at second, 1 out. Now Brian Shaw getting loose for Cleveland in their pen. Ball 1, and the bat came down and clicked Wilson Contreras in the helmet.
Well, it wasn't a true double switch, but what Terry Francona did when Miller came in is took out Santana and put in a better defender. So the true double switch would have put Miller 9 spots away. That's not the case. He's only a spot away here after Davis, and Baggio is going to basically come out and make sure the game plan understands how to attack Davis, and if we don't like the count in our favor, what we're going to do, because we'll force the hand of Francona and see what he wants to do.
Yeah, all Terry Francona did was really buy 1 spot. You look at the Indians offense games 2 and 3 after winning Game 1 6-0. They're looking for their first hit over the last 2 with a man in scoring position, but he just bought 1 spot. So Santana was taken out. The pitcher is next. The Cubs can do whatever they wish here. That's such a big guy on deck, such literally and figuratively. I don't know that Francona automatically lifts him, no matter the circumstance on the bases.
Well, he'll have a tough choice unless he just wants him to bunt if they walk Davis and you have first and second with 1 out.
In case you're wondering, Andrew Miller is 4 for 72 in his career and hasn't hit in 5 years. But right now it's Davis, so the Indians trying to get it done with Rajay Davis before they have to worry about Miller at the plate. Runner at second, 1 out, and a spin back toward Martinez.
Well, we mentioned and you mentioned how the teams are kind of reversed. Cubs more built like an American League team, and Cleveland more like a National League team and how he uses his players. So you've seen the bunt come into play on several occasions already for Cleveland.
Davis could come up huge for the Indians here. That's inside, 2-0. Left-hander Mike Montgomery is getting loose for Joe Maddon in the bullpen. And this is an anxious time for Joe Maddon with the threat of Davis at the plate and the lesser threat Miller on deck. 1 out in the inning. 2-0 pitch. There's a strike.
Well, the only easy decision for Francona is if he gets a base hit, they score a run.
Then you leave him in. You don't worry about it.
Piece of cake.
But if Davis doesn't get it done, then the decision goes to the other dugout. Two-1. That will get away, and over to third goes Martinez. And the count's 3-1 now on Davis. A wild pitch.
Now you almost got to think about walking. He's gone to all the curveballs here in this. That's such a good fastball. Maybe the approach was get Davis to change, and if he doesn't chase.
That's a big 90 feet picked up by Martinez. Now he's 90 feet away.
Going to pitch to him in a 3-1 count.
Infield is in. Throw down to third. Safe. On ball 4 to Rajai Davis. First and third, 1 out.
Shot.
And Miller walks back to the dugout. This was close. And the hand on the bag before the tag. That's how close. And now Andrew Miller. We'll see if we know one decision's been made. Andrew Miller's out of the game, and the Cubs are going to challenge this. The question is, was the right hand on the right foot of Kris Bryant, or was it on the base?
A couple fingers were definitely on the foot. It's a question of whether the other fingers got to the bag. You see where he tags him. He tags him past the armpit area. Some players could be real close. Some players will drop a knee in that situation. Definitely makes it difficult for him to get to the bag.
So they piece together these replays in New York. Larry Vanover, who started this World Series behind the plate, is now the replay umpire with help. And again, we had this during the Dodger Cub NLCS. Is there the evidence there to overturn the call, which was safe by the third base umpire Joe West?
Yeah, awfully difficult there for clear and concise, or something that would take it to a different call, but it's worth the challenge. I mean, it's such a huge moment. Not to mention now takes, you know, they were unintentionally walking him. You know, I was wondered if they were even going to pitch to him. So
safe is the call. Meanwhile, it was a walk to Davis. It's first and third with 1 out, and Andrew Miller is out of the game. Coco Crisp will come off the bench and pinch hit.
Now this is a situation where Joe Maddon has been very, very good with the safety squeeze. A very difficult place for the Cubs to defend this if done properly, and what that is the third base runner gets to read the batter, with this case Crisp. And it's not a suicide squeeze, but he's waiting to see what the batter does and then reacts after it's put in play.
Joe Maddon going down the line here with Carl Edwards Jr. first and third. Crisp. That's into right. It's a base hit. Martinez will come to the plate and score. Throw to third in time. 2 out in a 1-0 game. Indians on top. Coco Crisp delivers off the bench, and the first run of the night belongs to Cleveland.
Yeah, the only thing I don't like here is Davis goes. Right here is not the proper read. He gets it real quickly and throws it easily to Bryant. The only time you want to go to that situation, the third base, if you're drawing a throw that would allow your runner to score, but the runner had already scored. So Davis gives him an out at third base.
Clear tag for out number 2, but the Indians are on top in the 7th inning of Game 3. Mike Montgomery comes in for the left-handed hitting Jason Kipnis. That all-important first run belongs to Cleveland. They lead 1-0 in the 7th. Kipnis, strike 1. A couple of things have been accomplished in this top of the 7th. First, Cleveland takes the lead. That's the most important thing for the Indians. For the Cubs, though, Andrew Miller is out of the game for the Indians. Strike 2 on Kipnis. The right-hander Brian Shaw will take over with the 4, 5, and 6 hitters coming up. And remember, Kyle Schwarber lurking on the bench for Chicago. The 0-2 to the right side. It goes past Rizzo and out at first as Baez flips to Montgomery. We're going to take another look at it. Right now the call is out. And the Indians are going to look at that. Hand is on the bag.
Hand kind of bounced, so it's going to be interesting to see when the hand actually hits. As he dives for this, watch the hand bounce. It bounces up right there. Be close, but they're going to have to look at it, and why not?
Well, Rizzo missed on the initial ground ball, and then there was Javier Baez to feed Montgomery. Hand bounces up.
That's going to be close.
Remember, the call on the field is out.
White glove, white bag. Very difficult to tell unless they've got it. I'm sure they'll stop this, freeze it, do whatever they have to do to look at the different angles.
It's obviously huge, and it's the difference between end of the top of the 7th. Or 2 on and 2 out, and Lindor coming up.
This argument's going to go on for the rest of baseball on what is the fastest way to get to first base. Typically, if you run through the bag, I sometimes think that's the fastest way, unless an errant throw takes you to where you have to avoid the tag.
Clear and concise evidence to overturn this call?
I don't think so in this case.
I would agree with you, but at times you just don't know what they see. If they see a different angle, I can't imagine they would have any more angles than what we have. Here's the call. Out. And it's time for the 7th inning stretch. And this young boy who was 6, named Bill Murray, is all grown up. And we go to public address announcer Andrew Bellison.
Tonight's guest conductor for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, actor and Chicago native Bill Murray.
It's the bottom of the 7th inning, the last chance to order beer. But we didn't come here to drink beer. We came here to win this ball game. I said to the Uber boy, I said, take me out with the crowd. And in order to sing the right lyric, take me out with the crowd, you need to sing it like our greatest American entertainer, Mr. Daffy Duck. So I want you to spray it and don't say it. A 1, a 2, a 3. Take If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, they're out. That's the old ball game. Let's get some runs, suckers.
On an RBI base hit by Coco Crisp off the bench. And here's Brian Shaw. First pitch poured in there for strike 1 to Ben Zobrist. Zobrist, Contreras, and Soler.
See a lot of cutters and breaking balls from Mr. Shaw.
So a couple of changes defensively. Michael Martinez is in the game in center. And it's Yan Gomes doing the catching for Brian Shaw. 1 ball, 1 strike on Zobrist. 1 for 2 tonight. That's down. Ball 2, 2-1. Andrew Miller is the pitcher of record for Cleveland. Went an inning and a third, 3 strikeouts. Lifted for a pinch hitter in the top of this 7th, and that worked for Terry Francona as Crisp delivered. 2-1 to Zobrist. 2-2.
Well, right now the plan seems to be working great for Terry Francona. When you pitch Andrew Miller, usually it's with the lead. So he kept it scoreless, got him the lead. You see the record when teams score first.
Time called at the plate. Two. Full count.
Bullpen is getting ready as well for the Indians. The only thing that Shaw, every once in a while, he likes to pitch a lot. And when he pitches a lot, his command is better. If the command is off, Terry Francona won't stay very long with Brian Shaw.
Broken back. Kipnis charges. Has it. Got it. 1 away. And with 1 out, the batter will be Contreras. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right. And by Marvel's Doctor Strange in theaters November 4th. Contreras 0 for 2 as the Cubs offense has been shut down by Tomlin, then Andrew Miller, and Brian Shaw trying to pick up where they left off.
And more than likely 2 innings out of Cody Allen.
Contreras was trying to tie it. Strike 1. Brian Shaw, the main right-handed setup man for Cody Allen. That's foul. Strike 2. T-Mobile 1 in-game box score for Chicago. Only 2 hits. 1 belongs to Zobrist in his first at bat, and Jorge Soler in his last at bat. He's on deck. Schwarber is looking at scouting reports, video, lurking on the bench for Joe Maddon and the Cubs. The top pinch hit threat. Now the lefty Andrew Miller is gone for Cleveland. Right-handers the rest of the way. The 0-2. Right side. Diving stop. Napoli to the bag. What a play. And the former catcher playing in his 3rd World Series with his 3rd different team made a nice play to his left.
Great play, smothered it, and all he had to do was beat him to the bag.
There was some talk that with no DH, the Indians were going to have to use somebody in the outfield. Would it be Napoli or would it be Carlos Santana? And Napoli said, not me. No, I'm going to stay at first. Good play there by the veteran. Soler takes a ball. Jorge has a base hit tonight and threw out a runner. Rajai Davis in the top of this 7th. Going first to third. Soler fooled, a ball and a strike.
The pitching has been flawless for the Indians. I'm telling you, if you could have watched BP and watched how small this ballpark played, and with the wind blowing out, we've seen nothing really close in the air. That's how good the pitching has been against the Cubs. They haven't been able to get anything fat over the plate to lift.
That's down the right field line into the corner. The wind brings it back. And it is a fair ball. Chisenhall missed it, and Soler will end up at third, the tying run with 2 out. I don't think Soler can believe that ball was in play, let alone fair, as the wind just grabbed it and brought it back. And Chisenhall missed it.
Yeah, there's not much room there. You see how tight that is, unlike Progressive Field, and right there, that wind played tricks with a ball that was definitely going foul. Had slice on it and straightens out and ends up being a fair ball all the way to the end.
It's a triple. And Soler, had he been running out of the box, might have had half a chance at circling the bases once that ball was rattling around on the track and right. But he was surprised that it came back into play, and he ends up at third with a triple. The hitter will be Javier Baez. Now Jason Hayward off the bench to run for Soler.
Ball has got to be down to Baez. Even the cutter, anything out over the plate and up.
Bench runner, tying run at third. Ball 1 outside to Baez, who's 0 for 2.
That's a good take. I mean, this is a guy that traditionally is so aggressive. He's looking for one area, the middle part of the plate. Gomes is looking to do everything he can to stop this ball in case it's in the dirt for Hayward at third.
Chapman is up for the Cubs in their pen. Tying run at third, 2 out. 7th inning of game 3. To the shortstop. Over to first, and the inning is over. Brian Shaw puts up a scoreless 7th as Lindor takes care of the ground ball by his buddy Baez. 1-0 Cleveland after 7. Mobile Unlimited Baseball Contest. Only one will win tickets to every game of next year's World Series. It's up to you to decide. Go to @T-Mobile on Twitter to view the entries and vote now by tweeting #UnlimitedBaseball and their hashtag. Francisco Lindor against Montgomery. A ball and a strike as we start the 8th inning in a 1-run game. It's Montgomery on the mound now. It's Jason Hayward still in the game after pinch running. He's in right. And Pedro Strop is getting loose for the Cubs in their pen. Swing and a miss. Strike 2 on Lindor.
Well, the intrigue for me is going to be what Terry Francona decides to do in the 8th inning on the road. Will he let Shaw go, or will he go to his closer, Cody Allen?
Here's a 1-2. Lindor says it hit me. Trying to plead his case with John Hirschbeck. And it's not a very convincing argument, although he's asked asking for help from the dugout to see if they want to challenge it.
The batter knows. Right away you could hear Lindor say, "It hit me." Trying to get a quick response as we see the replay. The ball in the dirt. Catches the toe, if anything.
I don't see anything, and Terry Francona says, nope, play on. So the count 2-2. Montgomery off the mound. Has to hurry. Got his man. 1 out. The 1 run of the night in the 7th inning. Pinch hitter Coco Crisp, the veteran. Second tour of duty with the Indians. Drives home Martinez. And a big swing off the bench, and the reaction back in Cleveland. On a 52-degree night at Progressive Field, what a scene. They haven't won it all since 1948.
Well, they know they need a win, 1 win, to secure them coming home.
Pedro Strop out of the bullpen with the bases empty, 1 out. Napoli coming up in the 8th. First pitch, a swing and a miss by Mike Napoli on a delivery down and away from Pedro Strop. 1 out, nobody on, top of the 8th inning. Napoli now, Jose Ramirez on deck. Strike 2. In the bottom of this 8th, there will be intrigue with Addison Russell due to lead off, then the pitcher spot, and Kyle Schwarber on the bench for Joe Madden. That's outside, ball 1.
Strop's got pretty good breaking stuff, as you saw early on, but every once in a while he tries to change it up by not coming to a stop. Doesn't have to do that with nobody on. He tends to hang a couple of those when he goes too quick.
Struck him out, 2 out. Third strikeout tonight for Mike Napoli.
This has just been one pitch after another. The tension on both sides. 1-0 game. Already had one of those to start the postseason. Cubs on the advantage.
First pitch, a ball to Jose Ramirez, who's 2 for 3. Hitting 500 in this World Series. In at the knees, a ball and a strike. The big bats will come to the plate again for Chicago before the end of this one. Strop trying to keep it a 1-run game. There's another quick pitch on a delivery down and away, 2-1. Ramirez looking for his 3rd hit. That's into left field. Zobrist back to grab it. Pitching has been outstanding in game 3. Will it continue? Bottom of the 8th, 1-0 Cleveland. This telecast is sponsored by T-Mobile One. Welcome to Unlimited Baseball. And by Walmart. This Halloween, save on candy, costumes, and more at Walmart. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Call 1-800-DirecTV. It's Addison Russell now at the plate. Kyle Schwarber on deck. Brian Shaw on the mound. Ball 1 to Russell.
Russell struggles with curveballs, laying off that one. Looking again, the same thing, trying to get a cutter up. Got to think up against Shaw.
2-0.
I think Francona's trying to steal some outs here with Shaw, with Allen in the bullpen warming up.
Big swing by Russell trying to tie it. The count 2-1. Terry Francona, who's got the 1-0 lead, will ride the rest of this one with Brian Shaw on the mound now. Cody Allen, the closer in the bullpen.
I think Cody Allen comes in to face Schwarber. It's not a good matchup, Shaw against Schwarber, in my opinion.
Ball 3 on a check swing. Another good swing and a 94-mile-an-hour pitch, full count.
Russell just getting pretty big with his swing. You know he's trying to lift the ball. Anything he can do to get it in the air. But now on a 3-2 count, you got to find your way on base. Shaw could get really aggressive and throw him a curveball here, and I don't know that Russell could lay off of it. Go with his cutter.
On 3-2. Tension-filled Wrigley Field watching with a full count on Addison Russell, their 22-year-old shortstop, leading off the 8th. To third, foul. Down there you can see Aroldis Chapman is up again.
Chapman will be in the 9th regardless whether the Cubs score or not. At home, there's nothing to wait for with the closer. Close game, he'll pitch in the 9th.
Ryan Sandberg watching. 3-2 again to Russell. Struck him out. One away. And Brian Shaw wins that battle. First strikeout for Shaw tonight. Here comes Schwarber, who had an RBI single against Shaw in game 2. They loved him as a rookie last year. Hit 16, then 5 in the postseason. Had only 5 plate appearances this year until he tore up his left knee in a collision in Arizona. Worked his way back behind the scenes. Accelerated his work on the side, and here he is in the World Series. Strike 1.
That's where you got to be. You got to be up in the zone. Anything down, I think Schwarber and his swing path absolutely loves the arc of his swing. So the first pitch up, see if they keep climbing the ladder and stay up with cutters.
Schwarber is batting for Strop, who struck out 1 in 2/3 of an inning. Chapman, as John said, will pitch the 9th. Schwarber a double, a pair of RBI singles in Cleveland over games 1 and 2, a couple of walks. Up on the count here, 2-1.
Oh, that's the game plan so far. 3 for 3. He's kept the ball up there. Schwarber's been disciplined. He knows what he can do and what he likes. And until it gets to 2 strike, you look for that pitch.
Shattered bat on the infield, and that's Lindor. 2 out. And Shaw getting 5 big outs and around that windblown triple last inning, as he has 2 out here in the 8th.
Well, he executed. That was the game plan, trying to get the ball up. Much tougher. You see the bat completely destroyed.
And the batter will be Dexter Fowler. pitcher will be Brian Shaw. From Tomlin to Andrew Miller to Shaw. Still just 3 Cub hits, no runs. Foul, strike 1. Reminder, tomorrow night, game number 4 on the air at 7 Eastern, and a matchup of John Lackey and Corey Kluber, who was brilliant in game 1. The 0-1.
Well, the Indians all postseason, they haven't need many games, right? They got the first 2 out of the way in 7 games, winning 7 in 8 games. They have a lot of team wins. They utilize a lot of different weapons. That will be the case. 4 2/3 out of their starter, and then the bullpen.
That's outside. 2-1. On deck is Chris Bryant. If he bats in this 8th inning, you have to believe it'll be against Cody Allen. He's been up for a long time for Cleveland in their bullpen. But right now it's Brian Shaw and it's Dexter Fowler. That's a base hit. Tying run is on with 2 out. And we'll see if Francona makes the move here with Bryant coming up. And he'll go to the umpire first, so a double switch. Cody Allen's coming in, that we know. Chris Bryant is coming up, that we know. A tight game 3. Fox kicks off at a special time as the Washington Redskins battle the Cincinnati Bengals live from London. Then the Seahawks square off with the Saints. And in America's Game of the Week, the Packers face off with the Falcons. It all begins Sunday at 9 Eastern, only on Fox. Junior Home Run Derby allows kids 14 and under to compete for the National Home Run Derby Championship at the 2017 All-Star Game. Sign up today to host a free competition in your local community at jrhrd.com. Well, here's the battle. Chris Bryant against Cody Allen. Brandon Geyer comes into the game, takes over in left. Rajai Davis is out in center. Tying run at first, 2 out. Here we go. Strike 1.
Cody Allen, 6-0 game, came into the 9th and basically threw primarily fastballs. Much different situation here. Starts off Bryant with a real good breaking ball. These Indians can spin a baseball, not to mention 96 with a fastball.
Michael Martinez has moved from center to 3rd base. Strike 2 on Bryant. So there they are. Geyer in left, Rajai Davis in center. Michael Martinez at 3rd. Cody Allen on the mound.
They are playing deep to cut off any kind of double or extra base hit that would allow Fowler to score with 2 outs.
Bryant with a count of 0-2. That's into right field. That ball will fall foul. And that would have been a test for Chisenhall had that been fair. Fowler was well around second base when that ball dropped.
Yeah, that had a chance to be one of those rare singles that scores. Fowler, the way that ball was barely hitting the spin it had. Chisenhall playing so deep. Basically almost to the track.
Fourth pitcher of the night, Cody Allen. Trying to end the 8th. Runner goes, swing and a miss. The throw to first, and the inning is over. What pitching tonight by Cleveland? Tomlin, Miller, Shaw, now Cody Allen. We go to the 9th with Game 3. Indians on top, 1-0. Here's Aroldis Chapman. There the numbers this postseason for the hard-throwing left-hander picked up from the Yankees. Longtime Cincinnati Red. First up, Lonnie Chisenhall. Ball 1. Chisenhall, then Michael Martinez, then Yan Gomes. Chisenhall 0 for 3 tonight. 1-0 Cleveland, 9th inning. The big bats will hit for Chicago in the bottom of this 9th. 99 from number 54.
I think this crowd came in here with such great anticipation based on the matchup and based on who they're facing tomorrow, thinking if they could get this game, Kluber on short rest, kind of a wash because as good as he's been.
Strike 2.
Now you're going to get some very anxious people in Chicago if Cleveland can hold on to this 1-0 win.
John Lackey, the number 4 starter against the ace for the Indians tomorrow night. Corey Kluber, the winner in Game 1. 1-2 pitch. Struck him out all away.
He's been breaking out the slider a little bit lately, making it not fair for guys getting ready for 101, 102.
With 1 out, nobody on. The batter, Michael Martinez, his first at bat. Came in to pinch run. He's 0 for 1 this postseason. Pinch ran back in the 7th, and he tapped home plate on a hit by Coco Crisp. A pinch hit, single into right. The only run of the night. 1 ball, 1 strike. Michael Martinez tonight, the 5th player to play center field and 3rd base in the same World Series game. Earl Thomas, the last to do it in 1981 with the Dodgers.
This is more of what I thought we were going to get through this series. The first 2 games, of course, broken open late by Cleveland, win 6-0. Cubs had the other game completely in hand, 5 runs, and didn't cash in with all their opportunities on the bases. Well, tonight, if this were a football game, Cleveland was moving up and down the field, weren't able to score. Chicago stayed in the middle of the field, and then finally Cleveland cashed in. They put too much pressure on the Cubs.
Martinez fouls it away. I mentioned the bench is empty for Terry Francona. Joe Madden still has Coughlin, Almora, David Ross. He's used Hayward, Montero, and Schwarber.
I don't know how Francona, he must have the strongest teeth in America. He's always chewing on that gum and just getting there grinding away.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Full count.
You see right there, there's all the work he's done.
Seeds, gum.
Let it chew.
3-2. Strike him out, 2 out. Coming up next, baseball's most talked about post-game show. Join Kevin, A-Rod, Frank, and Pete as they break down tonight's game next. Over on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Across from Murphy's bleachers. And out in the back corner of this ballpark, out beyond the scoreboard. The manually operated one in center. Here's Yan Gomes. He's the catcher that's got the long-term deal with Cleveland. It's It's his first action of the postseason. Got hurt originally in the middle of July, separated right shoulder. He's caught 10 big league innings since. Last time was the last day of the season in Kansas City, October 2nd. It was 26 days ago. And he will be behind the plate at the bottom of this ninth. 1 ball, 1 strike. Again, Rizzo, Zobrist, Wilson Contreras. Hayward is scheduled up 4th in the bottom of the ninth. Two and 1.
Surprised how many sliders Chapman is throwing. Especially to a guy, as you mentioned, hasn't had much action. Timing can't be that great to catch up with 101, 102. Almost doing him a favor throwing him a slider.
That's high for ball 3. The Indians have seen Roberto Perez step in for Yan Gomes and do a great job catching. Now this postseason with a bat. Rajai Davis on deck. Full count. Chapman trying to strike out the side. To the right side. Baez to Rizzo. Had to hit a moving target to get the final out in the top of the ninth. Part of the order coming up for the Cubs, who trailed by 1 in the ninth of Game 3. Chicago, we go back to the 7th inning. StatCast is powered by Amazon Web Services. The only run of the game scoring on the hit by Chris. And then the throw to third by Soler for the 2nd out of the inning.
Yeah, Soler, easy throw out as long as he kept it on line, and he did.
Derek Lee, Cubs first baseman. Cubs Uber fan Eddie Vedder is here with his daughter Olivia. Ryan Sandberg, Hall of Famer. 2nd baseman John Hamm in attendance tonight. Ryan Dempster going velvet. And in the bottom of the 9th inning, away we go. Anthony Rizzo first up. Cody Allen. That's into left field, a base hit. Tying run is on. Rizzo his first hit of the night. And now a pinch runner for Rizzo after he fought it off into left.
Decided to be aggressive. Decided right. Fastball coming out of Allen. Didn't hit it perfectly, but hit it exactly where he couldn't be caught. Good start for the Cubs.
Chris Coughlin will come off the bench and provide more speed over at first. As Ben Zobrist, who has 6 hits and 11 at-bats in this World Series, steps in.
Martinez is in, maybe expecting a bunt. Third base.
No sign of one there. With Zobrist, the way he's swinging,
right.
I don't know that you take the bat out of his hands. But Martinez will stay in tight. Checked his swing on ball 1.
Allen has such a power curveball. I mean, it complements the fastball. As a hitter, you've got to get geared up for his fastball. When you see a pitch that starts the height of a fastball, for Zobrist to lay off that pitch, that was huge for him.
Cody Allen has gone 14 for 14 in the save department since the 3rd week of August with an ERA of 0.36. has been on. 1-1 pitch. Right down the middle, strike 2.
That's what I mean. His fastball is so good down around the knees, starting a curveball around the knees, hard to lay off of.
People standing inside the ballpark, swarming it outside the ballpark. Waiting on a 1-2. Struck him out. 1 on, 1 out, and a big one picked up by Cody Allen.
That's just no chance. That's what I was saying. When it starts at the knees and it breaks down, there's really nothing a hitter can do. You're only hoping for a mistake in that area. 1-2 power breaking ball. I don't know how many fastballs will be thrown here on the remainder of the Cubs hitters. Try to sneak in a fastball every once in a while, but that power curveball is tough.
Pitching coach Mickey Callaway in the dugout watching. Wilson Contreras at the plate. 24-year-old rookie. Runner goes. Ground ball to third. Martinez gets the out at first. 2 out. And the Cubs are down to their final out, and Coghlan got a good jump on that pitch by Cody Allen. And this game is going to fall into the lap of Jason Heyward, who has basically been benched. He's 2 for 30 this postseason. He's been tied up inside, had a tough time catching up to fastballs. He's lost his starting spot. But Joe Madden is begging for something from his bat here in the ninth.
Well, I said it. If you're Jason Heyward, you've handled this stuff the way you have, knowing you'd like to play, but you're not. There will come a point where one play or one swing will change the whole attitude of how the year's been for Jason Heyward. He would love nothing more than this to be the case. His one at bat in the last game, he hit a bullet to center field.
Base hit would tie it likely. Outfield is deep. Tying run at second, 2 out. Ball 1 inside. Tying run is Coghlan at second. Heyward trying to deliver. Hard hit, but foul. May have broken his bat, and he did. The Cubs tonight are 0 for 13 with runners on base. That's how good the Cleveland pitching has been here in Game 3.
It really has. I mean, there's always going to be situations where you watch a game live and go, I can't tell you about 3 mistakes they've made. And if I watch it again, there may not be 3 mistakes. They've executed everything perfectly.
One and one on Heyward, who with one swing could erase memories of a frustrating season, his first as a Cub. Chopped, right side, off Napoli. The inning continues. Scored an error for now. But now the tying run 90 feet away with Baez coming up.
Well, this is a tough play. It's an in-between. Jason Heyward gets down the line. And you see all that Napoli wanted to do is keep it in front of him. Tough spin. Hits him high in the heel of the glove. By staying in front of it, he knew he was secure to keeping the run from scoring and still give Allen a chance.
Here comes Callaway, the pitching coach, with Javier Baez coming up. 0 for 3 tonight, 2 for 12 in this World Series.
Well, of the two batters that are coming up, and I think this is a discussion of, look, remember this kid, he can expand the zone, but he likes a high fastball. The discipline of Baez to stay off the breaking ball early will be crucial. I just can't imagine throwing a first pitch fastball to Baez in this situation. And then if you're the Cleveland catcher, you got to protect against that power curveball in the dirt. Coughlin's got to be able to read whatever he can.
It's a crazy game. First time Baez has been back in that 7th spot in the order since game 1 of the NLCS. And the game is in his lap. Facing Cody Allen. First and third, 2 out. Hayward running, and Baez unloads on a foul back to the screen. And they're giving Hayward second base, where if he takes it, a base hit could win the ball game.
Yeah, I give Allen a lot of credit. That's a gutsy pitch right there. Fastball away. Baez just missed it. He wanted the ball a little bit more inside, but man, you could tell Baez would love to have that pitch over. I don't think you'll see another one of those.
Hayward running, pitch high, no throw, down to second is the potential winning run. It is a stolen base for Jason Hayward, uncontested. And again, this outfield is really deep. A base hit out of the infield could likely win it for Chicago. First base open, Addison Russell on deck. Down for ball 2. Him up 2-2.
See, that's why I'm surprised by the previous pitches. I just don't know that Baez can lay off of anything in this area. Awfully close.
Cubs down to their final strike. They've waited 71 years for the World Series to return to Wrigley Field. This game has had everything except a run for the Cubs.
Same pitch, it's hard for Baez to lay off of it. I mean,
Gomes has got to block it if it's in the dirt. Two-two pitch. Cleveland wins it 1-0. As Baez strikes out at a pitch that was up. And the Cleveland Indians have just thrown their 5th shutout in 11 postseason games this year, and the Cubs have been shut out for the 4th time this postseason.
Really an incredible job, an incredible team job. This game came down to a close play, a pickoff play at third, and then a base hit by Coco Crisp. And that's all the Cleveland Indians needed as they send the ball to their ace going into tomorrow's game. But higher than high, fastball above the barrel. Incredible game.
So well managed In both corners of the dugouts, you've got Terry Francona, who emptied his bench, used that bullpen. And in a 3-hour, 33-minute game 3, the Indians get 1. And that's enough. And with that, Cleveland, the first team ever with 5 shutouts thrown in a single postseason, albeit now with more opportunity. But their pitching has carried them in the postseason to this point, up 2-1 in the World Series.
Yeah, it really has. And I can't say enough about when you're in these kind of games, the tense, the pressure, and the ability to deliver under the gun. Incredible.
Let's go down to the field. Here's Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Joe. Josh, 4 2/3 scoreless innings. How were you able to keep the Cubs so off balance?
I think just going the game plan with Berto, following him, and you know, kind of knowing what the game plan was going in, and just trying to execute. You leave the ball at the heart of play to those guys. They can put a cricket number on you in a hurry. So for me, it was just trying to execute pitches and keep them off balance as much as I could.
Your dad was here. I saw you searching for his seat location before the game. How emotional was this for you?
This is probably one of the hardest starts I've had to deal with in a long time. Just from the atmosphere around here, knowing where my dad was, I found him before the game when I was going over there to the weight room. And so I wanted to know where he was, that comfort factor, to be able to look up and kind of see him. So I knew where he was, and I knew how much this meant to him and me and my mom. So it was a pretty special start for me, and one of the more emotional starts I've ever had in my career.
Josh, congratulations. Now over to Tom Verducci.
Thanks, Ken. Coco Crisp, 1 run in this game. You delivered it. No pinch hits during the regular season, a big one tonight. Tell me about your approach. You certainly jumped on the at-bat early.
Right. Well, went over the scouting report before I went up there, and I know he has some natural cut to his plus fastball. And I was just hoping to get the barrel to it, and I didn't. And it cut in on me, and I was just fortunate enough that it was able to drop in front of the fielder.
Now, the World Series has been around since 1903. This is only the 9th time a team won with 1 run and no extra base hits. What does it say about Cleveland that you could come in here to Wrigley Field and win this kind of a game?
It's just good chemistry over here. The guys work hard, and you know, they kept their poise. Our pitching did a great job. Their pitching did a great job over there. And that's what type of series this is going to be, it seems like. So we got to get – the runs are at premium, so we got to get them when we can. And fortunately for us, we got 1, and they didn't today. So hopefully we can keep getting that 1 extra run.
Coco, thanks so much. Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Back to you, Joe.
All right, the game-winning RBI. The only RBI belongs to Coco Crisp. His 2nd time around with the Cleveland Indians, who win it 1-0. Andrew Miller gets the victory. Carl Edwards Jr. gets the loss. The save for Cody Allen. It's his 6th of this postseason. He has yet to allow a run. The bullpen, outstanding. You heard from Josh Tomlin at the beginning. 4 2/3, no runs, 2 hits in an emotional start tonight, game 3. And it's the 25th 1-0 game in World Series history. 649 World Series games have been played. We can only hope tomorrow night is as intense. See you then. Until that point, we send it out to Kevin and the guys out beyond the wall. Kevin?
Okay, Joe, thank you very much. What a game. I mean, just an absolutely outstanding game 3 here. 1-0, well played, drama, all of it. Welcome, Frank Thomas, Pete Rose, Alex Rodriguez, and I'm Kevin Burkhardt. So the Indians take a 2-1 series lead in this World Series. A dramatic 1-0 win over the Cubs. Plenty more to do. We'll have interviews from the field and the clubhouse when we come back. A lot to do in this game, and we will break it all down. Another gem, Andrew Miller out of the pen. The Indians playing small ball. And then the bullpen for these Indians. Their 5th shutout this postseason. It's a new record. Fans still happy, but this was a Cleveland night. Indians have a 1-0 lead and a 2-1 World Series lead. We're back after this.